Friend, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Ajit Kumar, and in this video we will migrate our on-prem VM to Azure cloud. So basically we will perform Azure Site Recovery. So uh, this is the VM, uh, my VM, which is basically deployed in VMware workstation. So as you can see here, this is the first server which are having IP 192.168.202.129, and this is the another VM. So the first VM, the server one, we will configure as a configuration server or as a process server, and the second one, which are having ending with 135, we will this migrate this VM to the Azure. So this is the source server which we will migrate to the cloud and use this server as a configuration server. So before proceeding to migration, we just need to perform some prerequisites configuration, like there's a resource group. So we will create a resource group, separate resource group, and under that we will create a recovery service vault and the vnet, virtual net, and the storage account, of course. So let's go and let's set up a prerequisite first. So first of all, I will go to create a resource group first. So I will create a resource group naming Azure Site Recovery. Okay, and the reason will be H2H. Since we don't have yet tagging, I'm going to review and create. So my resource group is created successfully. Now I'm going to create recovery service vault. Inside that resource group, and will name site on-prem, and the location will be the same. Going to review and create. So my resource group, my recovery service vault is created successfully, and now I'm going to create virtual network. So virtual network will place in the same resource group, and here we will here I'm choosing the name site net, and will be the location H2S. Moving to the IP, I'm leaving as it is. Moving to the security or tagging, and just review and create. So finally my virtual network is created. Now I'm going to create a storage account. in that resource group which we have created for site migration. So make sure you are using the so I have choose the name Migrate SBM. So this is my storage account, and the region will be the same HTTPS. So here I'm choosing the LRS. So we don't want to buy. Will so to low the cost, we will use the LRS. Now I'm going to networking part. So here all looks good. So if you want to enable your network public endpoint, you just need to select your network here, virtual network. So I have selected my web network which we have created earlier for the prerequisites. So moving to the next. So this is a soft deletion. So the soft deletion is by default enable. So to avoid accidental deletion, if you accidentally delete any item, it will take the mentioned day to retain the data. So I'm going to default as it is. Move into the tag and the review and create. So finally I'm going to create this storage account. So finally my storage account is created successfully. Now I'm going to the resource group and validate once all the items should be available there. So just go and refresh that. Go here and refresh once. So as you can see here, my storage account, the virtual network and the recovery service vault is created successfully. So our prerequisites is completed. So now I'm going to prepare the infrastructure and will perform the replication. So for that, you just go to the recovery service vault, okay, and after that here you need to go to the site recovery, okay, and after that go to that the second option. Since our VM on-prem VM are in VMware machines, so I'm using here, okay. So going to prepare infrastructure. So here you have to basically you have to download this deployment planner so that it will validate all the bandwidth and all this. So as of now I'm marking I will do later. Moving to the next. So here I'm going to use the second option, and after that you need to add the configuration server here. Once you click on the add configuration server, you will get this page like in this one. So first of all, there is some instructions available, so make sure your server on which you are planned to set up and the configuration is running, it should be 2012 R2 or 16 only. So if you are having any proxy enabled in your environment, you just need to check from here. And this is a setup you need to download, Azure Site Recovery Unified Setup. We need to place this setup in your on-prem VM, and parallelly you have to download this registration vault registration key. So I'm going to download this, and I have already downloaded this Azure Site Recovery Unified Setup. So as you can see, my vault is downloaded successfully. So I'm going to copy this, okay, and going to my configuration server and place here. So this is my server one, which I have mentioned here, the 129, which is server one, and we will make it a configuration server. So I have already placed this setup and also placed this registration key. So you just go and run this setup, unified setup, as an administrator. So basically it will take some time to configuration. So finally my setup is started. So finally it's begin. So here I'm getting an option to install the configuration server and the process server. So going to next, here you need to accept the license. Moving to the next, so here you need to browse that key, registration key, which we have downloaded. So moving to the next, here you need to check the second option. If in your environment you are using the proxies, any proxy server, you need to select the second option. Since I don't have any proxies enabled, we are proceeding with the first option. So it will start validation, the prerequisite 6, and will take some time. So since you can see here we are getting some error warning, so no need to worry about this. There is a warning related to the CPU and the memory and the free space and the static IP. So I don't have a static IP is enabled on this VM, that's why we are getting. And if you perform this all the warning, resolve this all this warning, you just need to rerun. So in my case I'm going to by default. Going to the next, here you need to put the password. So I have created a password. Do you want to protect your virtual machine, VMware virtual machine? So I'm going to check the no. I'm going to the next. So if you are having another drive and if you want to install this setup in another drive, you just browse and look at that drive. So in my case I'm proceeding with the by default. Moving to the next, here you need to select the your NIC, on-prem NIC. So finally I'm going to start the installation unified setup. So basically it will take 30 to 35 minutes to complete this setup, since it will download the MySQL and we will install, and make sure your on-prem VM are having internet access available, so that all this setup will be downloaded easily. Okay, so on this my process server, internet is accessible. So and the next thing, you need to check your source VM is communicating or not from this server. For that, let me ping that. So my source VM, which we targeted to perform the migration, is having 135. So we are not getting the ping response, so we need to resolve this. Let me try to telnet. And the port will be 135. So looks like the telnet is not enabled on this VM. Let me enable that. So I'm also going to open a rule, Windows firewall rule. So in your case, if you are using any physical firewall, you need to whitelist so that the source server will be communicate from the source server, from the process server. So I'm going to add a rule. We have already opened that. So let me try to telnet this. We will check later once the telnet client is installed, will be installed. So as you can see here, the MySQL is downloaded and installed successfully. Now the second item, which is Internet IS feature, is getting enabled. So it will take 30 to 35 minutes. So I'm pausing this video, and once the setup is installed successfully, I will proceed for the next. So friend, finally all the configuration is installed successfully. So I forget to mention the special instructions. So here is the special instructions. Make sure your configuration server and the source server which we are trying to migrate are having connectivity, and you are able to ping the source server from the configuration servers, and also you can try to telnet your source server from the configuration server with the port 135. So the setup is installed successfully. So now I'm going to finish this. Okay, and once you click on the finish, basically it will pop up to copy the passphrase. You just copy that and paste anywhere for the future reference. So I'm going to save this passphrase. So I have successfully saved this passphrase. As you can see, now you need to add account. So you just mention here the friendly name, which will be Abibu in Azure, and here you need to mention the username. So I'm going to put my name, since I don't have this VM join in the domain. So if your VM is in domain, you just put the domain name, and after that you need to put the username. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. So now the account is added successfully. So just close this, no need to do anything. So since we have enabled the telnet, let me check the telnet, and first of all I will check the ping, if ping is working or not of my source server. So this is my source server. Now we are getting the ping response. Let me tenant, the port 135. So now the tenant is also working fine. So now I'm going back to that recovery service vault and just refresh this, or you can go again and try to configure to prepare the infrastructure. So I'm going to prepare this infrastructure. So hope we will get the configuration server. Now we are getting the configuration server available here. So now I'm going to next. Here you need to select that the deployment model. There is two options. I'm going with the default resource manager. Now you need to go to the next. So you need to create a policy here. So if you already created a policy in the recovery service world, no need to worry. You just go here and drop down. Otherwise you can create here the policy. So I'm here putting the name Replication policy. So it will also create a replication policy for failback. Okay, if you want in future, if you want to fail back from Azure to on-prem, it will be work. So it will take 5 to 10 minutes to create a policy. Both policies created. First one is created for the on-prem to Azure, and the second is for failback, and both the policies associated with the server configuration server. Now I'm going to proceeding for the next. So here you need to validate and review all the item. Okay, so after that you just click on the prepare, so that it will configure the infrastructure. Now once you completed the prepare infrastructure, you need to go for the enable replication. So here I'm going to select our configuration server and selecting this. Going for the next. The process server should be the same. Okay, so since we have already created a virtual network, so I'm selecting that. Moving to the next. Here you need to add that server, source server. So I'm going to add this server along with the IP, and here the OS type would be window. So click on OK. Here it's discovered. Let me refresh that. So as you can see here, my source VM is now populated. So here you need to select that. So here is the IP of my source VM, and Windows type is window, OS type. I'm going to next. Here you need to let me expand that. So here you need to use account to install. So here you can use the standard size. If you want to create disk type, the type of disk you need to select here. So I'm going with the standard SSD and the cache storage, the storage account which we have created as a prerequisite, you need to mention here. So I have selected all the item. Now I am going to proceeding for the next. Okay. Finally, we are getting option for the user account. So actually I have rebooted the configuration server. Actually, after that we are getting the user account for install mobility service. So I am going to select the item and proceeding for the next. So once you click here, it will start the replication. So just validate it once and start replication. So let me log into my configuration server and validate once the setting is the connectivity is working fine with my source server. So go to the command prompt and check if you are able to ping your source VM. So I'm getting the ping response. Let me tell it once. The port number 135. Now it's working. So now I'm going to start the application. So review once and enable the application. So once you click on the enable the replication, it will start the replicating that VM. So it's started. So as you can see here, the mobility service and preparing for target. It's installing the mobility service. Will take some time. This is the job to the installation of mobility service and preparing for the target. It will start in replication, and after that it started initial replication and updated the provider state. So and let me show you the protected configuration server. So since we are doing with the VMware, so here you will get the configuration server, which is having 129 IP, which is my server 1. This is the server configuration server. So let me go to that server and so I will show you. So as you can see here, all the details you will get from here. So the status you are showing here, the connected, and the last heartbeat is this. So as of now I'm pausing this video, and once the synchronization will be complete, I will resume that. As you can see here, there is a progress going on. Okay, so here in the health or application health, we are getting some critical error. So just go to that critical error and check. Sometimes it's getting due to some connectivity issue. So as you can see here, here we are getting some error. Okay, so we need to fix that. Okay, so after that, as you can see here in the infrastructure view, we are getting this error here. This is my on-prem infrastructure, and this is my Azure infrastructure. So from configuration server, there is a connectivity issue between the configuration server and the storage account. So there might be some issue. So I have already added, uh, as per their recommendation, I have already granted access on the storage account. So this is the account they suggested to add if you are using the standard storage, or if you are using the premium storage, you need to add that. So I have already added that. So once the replication got completed, so you need to perform the test failover. Okay, and then after you have to proceed for the failover. So once the replication got completed, you will just click on the latest recovery point. Here you will get the latest recovery point. Okay, so in here, the disk is already created. So let me go to that resource group and I will show you. As you can see here, this is a disk. The recovery service vault and go to the replicated item. So as you can see here, once you click on this status replicated item, you will get this page. Okay, so as you can see here, here is a test failover and the failover is populated. So let me go. You will get this status like that. So here you need to perform the test failover, and once you proceeded for the test failover, this page, so here you need to mention the name. Here you will get the on-prem VM name. So if you want to change the VM name in Azure, so basically you need to put here. So basically it will be comes under the whenever you are performing the full failover. Okay, and here you need to select that resource group, and after that the size, what would be the size if you want to. And if you want to add that VM in the availability set, here you can add that. And here you need to add the virtual network. Perform first the test failover, and Microsoft is always recommending to perform the test failover first, and after that, once the test failover is performed and you have validated your application and their performance, then you can proceed for the full failover. Okay, so this is all about how we can configure, how we can migrate virtual on-prem VM, on-premises VM to Azure cloud. So hope this video is really helpful to you, and if you have any query, please comment on the below and I will be happy to answer that. Please subscribe my channel and like this video. Thank you so much.